Simply 70H.
Darkness, the sands of Anubis. Join us on a journey through time, back to 3000 BC. Egypt was in turmoil, and a groundbreaking method for preserving the dead was just beginning to take shape. As legend has it, Anubis, the god of mummification, discovered a powder so potent that it could preserve kings and royalty for eternity, ensuring their safe passage into the afterlife. And we can specifically see kratom use as being used, specifically 70H and Sands of Anubis was being used at 3000 BC. And we see evidence of it through hieroglyphics within the tombs and pyramids. So Anubis believed he had discovered the ultimate secret to eternal preservation, rubbing 70H powder inside of the brain and nasal passages during mummification. In theory, this mystical powder was supposed to slow decay and keep the body intact for the afterlife. Unfortunately, reality had other plans. Instead of preserving the deceased, the 70H powder supercharged decomposition. And they started to use it, actually, the sands of Anubis specifically, during the mummification process, really. Because sometimes you'd be mummifying these guys and they'd be twitching and they'd be making all kinds of noises, and you didn't know if they were alive or if they were still dead or what was going on. But they just started giving them sands of Anubis just to kind of take the edge off. Keep the twitches down and keep the mummification process a little less inhumane, really. However, this revolutionary mummification process sparked controversy among the working class, raising questions about its power and secrecy. Even Anubis himself is said to have understood the immense strength of this mysterious 70H powder, so powerful that if it ever escaped his grasp, it could never be contained. And after that, some of the people that did the mummification process started using it recreationally. It got into the high priest communities. And then naturally, they started prescribing it to royalties and, upper levels of society. Some daring souls, however, sought to harness its power in the most unorthodox ways. Whispers of an underground sect spoke of a ritual where the 70H powder was boofed, bypassing mortal digestion to deliver an experience so intense it was said to blur the line between life and the afterlife. And it wasn't an issue until 1300 BC when the Greeks got a hold of it. That's kind of when they started, they were boofing it, They were kind of just taking a little bit of it and just kind of, I don't want to get into it. They were boofing it though, It was not a good scene.
They were putting it in their buttholes. I mean, I'd love to do further testing on the powders, but they won't send them to me. They say I'm not an accredited lab. They say I don't have the equipment to test it. But all I take care of here is 70H, so I know 70H better than anyone. Just scrape some out of the mummy's nose and send it to me and I'll test it.
I'm familiar with Sands of Anubis. Yeah, I'm a fan. It works. I'll tell you that much. It works.
From a lot of the testing we've seen, the 70H was really a problem because it was kind of interfering with the mummification process. They thought it was aiding in the mummification process, but it was really doing the opposite. That's why you see a lot of these old mummies and they're all wilted and they're just rotting from the inside out because the 70H is just oxidizing inside their bodies while they're mummified.
Rather than achieving eternal youth, priests began noticing that bodies were breaking down faster than ever, their carefully wrapped remains dissolving into an unholy mess. What was supposed to be a breakthrough in mummification quickly became a crisis, forcing embalmers to double down on linen wrappings and incense to cover up the smell.
And you hear these stories about the first people that go into the tombs or the pyramids, they all die. And they're all dying because they're breathing in this 3,000-year-old 70H powder. The sands of Anubis is kicked up everywhere, and it gets into your lungs and it makes you pretty high, but it makes you a little too high. That's the problem. It's too old. It's a stale mildew high. I mean, it's got a good body to it, but it does not good for you.
Even today, explorers still wear masks when venturing into unopened tombs to protect themselves from the lingering effects of this ancient dust. This so-called Sands of Anubis may have backfired centuries ago, but its dusty remains still swirl through the air today, ready to unleash a time-traveling dose of ecstasy to anyone lucky enough to inhale it.